Hit it. Boom.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
All right.
guys, so we have Clairvoyant Gaming spawning over here on the left-hand side of the map as the blue team. We have Hawkfu playing Sergeant Hammer, Notorious DIG on Uther, March on Falstad, Suki on Gazlo, and Descent is playing ETC.
Awesome. And then here on this red side, we've got Bala in the top lane, Pythix on her. We've got all clumped in the middle here, Nightmare on Barb, ToeJam and Earl on Diablo, Treble on that Malfurion, and following it up with Pelion on the Zagara in the bottom lane. Ooh, so we've got some three-man lanes. Looks like people are going to be getting to those watchtowers, just capping those. Let's see how this level 1 breaks out here, Sham 2.
Yeah, we
There's
have
any
three
fighting.
people up top going here for both teams, so this could easily turn into some sort of heavy engagement. Diablo is very strong at level 1. As soon as he gets his overpower and shadow charge, it kind of just locks somebody in there. And
Yeah.
they're real sneaky
Yeah.
over here.
Both of these teams actually matching up 3-on-3 in this lane. Ooh, nice check by DIG to scout those two in the brush. Not going to get in trouble up there. Just going to protect the siege tank, and they're going to rotate back down to the mid lane.
And yeah, they're just playing nice and safe. And we got Sonya just kind of walking around, doesn't really know what she's doing quite yet. Is she gonna be making engagement? Once again, we have three people up top again. This has been a real lane for contention up here.
Yeah, I think the Sergeant Hammer lane just wants to push, and everyone else is kind of just skirmishing in their lanes, not getting much done. This Gazlo Zagara actually bottom lane is going to be interesting. I wonder which of them is going to have more pushing power and then get these forts out of ammunition, because that's going to be important here.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to hand that over to the Zagara because she doesn't need nearly as much mana to hold that lane presence as a Gazlo would. You can see he's already really kind of low in mana,
Yeah,
especially
for
if he keeps using that laser.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be a-okay for the time being. Meanwhile, ETC looks like he wants to go head up to top lane. He's got a sentry drone for his first level talent.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. Haven't seen that very often on ETC here. And it looks like he's just putting a cautious ward out so he doesn't get ganked. He's really concerned he's pushed forward in the lane. It can be easy to get caught there, even for ETC. Oh, we see an early Merc camp, though, by DIG and March over here. Their own ogres, leaving Sergeant Hammer in that lane alone.
Seems like they're gonna get that without any too much problem. And meanwhile, it looks like we're gonna have Tempest gonna go do the same exact thing at their own, using Barb and Diablo. I'm not sure Diablo needs to be there, but I guess camaraderie is always best.
Moral support, moral support.
Well, actually, it's a safe call because you need to make sure, because they didn't see where Falstad and Uther were, so they wanted to make sure that, I guess, in case there was a gank at that camp, they were going to be prepared for it.
Yeah, so now we have mirrored mercenaries going out on the map, and it looks like instead of pushing with their mercenaries, like Clairvoyance is doing, Tempest is actually just going to let those go to bottom, meet up with Zagara, and they're going to rotate their two-man squad towards the top side of the map where that tribute is spawning.
We have a couple of people heading over here. The tributes now spawning up. We have a sentry drone, sorry, scouting drone that's going to be just kind of hanging out there already. It doesn't look like Gazlo or Zagara are going to be coming up here. And meanwhile, it's just going to be still an engagement at the top lane. It looks like nobody really cares about this tribute. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to easily hand over to Tempest.
Clairvoyant Gaming just casually giving up that tribute, willing to get some damage on the top side with the Sergeant Hammer and the ogres. Sergeant Hammer are going to do a good job pulling some of those ogres, looks like, towards his base. Pythix taking a lot of damage there, almost goes down actually to that Siege Hammer damage. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Suki is getting beat up down here. Look at that, low health, low mana, those ogres are not getting cleared out. They're going to have to do something about this, Sham2, or else they are going to be losing that front wall, which is really early in the game.
That is really early, but it looks like they're perfectly fine with taking that aggression for the top aggression. I mean, they've already taken out both the towers, both the turrets as well as the wall, and they're now starting to siege on this top fort. There's absolutely nothing that really Tempest can do. They're all really low health. They don't have much they can really contest. That's Sergeant Hammer as well as Ogre. And yeah, they did a good amount of damage. Oh, is March going to be able to get here on Pythix? No. Wow, Pythix just barely gets the vault away there. ToeJam Earl being a little bit scared. There are now 4 people up here at the top lane, and it looks like this fort's going to go down.
Yeah, definitely this fort's going to go down. They have to give that up. Seems like it may have been a bit of a mistake to leave 2 melees up in this lane against this hard push. They possibly could have rotated another range up here earlier to potentially stymie that push, you think?
Yeah, that definitely... It's an interesting choice here, and looking at bottom lane, it looks like Gazlo was able to hold that off just barely. I mean, Pelion is still doing pretty well, but Suki's very, very low on absolutely everything and has to be really careful with any Hydras.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's going to get a little damage here, but I doubt he's going to be able to do anything serious to this fort, especially as March rotates down along with Hawkfu. Although it looks like Treble's going to scout it, the gank incoming, and Pellion's going to be okay.
Yeah,
So-
Pellion's going to back up. This is a very, very smart play here from Pellion. He wants to
Yeah.
be really nice and safe.
Yeah. It looks like, ooh, Descent maybe getting caught a little bit here. Nightmare going in.
Oh, there is the Barb leap, and oh, they nab him right into that little nook there. And if they
Yeah.
body block, there we go. There's first blood going out here for Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest needs that first blood badly to try and catch up in that XP lead that Clairvoyant got from killing that early fort. And this is actually going to give them a little bit of pressure, so they might be able to snag this tribute without too much risk either because of that death. Looks like Gazlo snagged those night camps during that downtime though, so not all loss for Clairvoyant. They're going to be able to push with those knights, potentially with the level 10 power spike, which would be really scary.
Well, this is gonna be close. I mean, both teams are level 9.
Yeah.
We don't really have an idea just yet of who's a little bit ahead.
Yeah,
So-
it looks like they are committing to this night camp here on Tempest's side, so these
Yeah.
knights are going to get to the wall without taking too much damage beforehand. And it looks like Clairvoyant has actually given up on pushing with those knights. They
Let's
hit
do
level
a
10 though.
quick time check. Is it 6:30?
Yeah, I'm at 633 right now.
Okay, cool, perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, so here comes those knights. They're now going to move in, and it looks like Clairvoyant's knights are going to be going down. There were 4 people just there, and they're going to clean this up, and now they're going to have their own like reciprocating night push.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Gazlo snagging that Grave Golem solo, and Tempest is like, oh, it seems like maybe somebody is getting their Grave Golem, let's go get ours. It's pretty common to see those trading off of mercenaries on this map because the map is so divided on the sides, it can be way scarier to go get your enemy's stuff. So if they get something, you just take your own thing, at least that way you don't fall behind.
No crazy picks here on the heroics. We do see a Tranquility out here for Treble. Do you have any insight as to why they picked that over something like, say, Twilight Dream?
You know, that's actually interesting. I would have probably expected Twilight Dream, given how much AoE their composition has and how you might want to synergize it with the APOC or to fight against the ETC. But if you're looking to just out-sustain your opponent, then, I mean, Tranquility's going to do that for you, no question.
Now the tribute is up, and it looks like Tempest is trying to posture this, but unfortunately 5 people here from Clairvoyant Gaming are going to be able to bully them out of this. The Grave Golem is pressuring down that gate on the top fort. And is this going to be a quick kill on ToeJam Earl? Yes, it is. The Tranquility does come out. Is it going to be able to keep him alive? Barely keeping him alive until the Shock and Awe. The Shock and Awe is going to be able to take out Diablo. And Nightmare is now going to go down at the very end. Pythix now finally using Strafe, but does get interrupted from Descent's ETC. And it looks like Nightmare is also going to go down. Here comes Pythix yet again. And Pythix unfortunately vaults into the enemy team. And that's going to lead for a a team wipe out here. So Tempest not taking that engagement too well, but it seems like Clairvoyant Gaming is just barely going to get a nice little lead here. It's going to be 13-11 in the levels.
Yeah, so that was a 5 for 3 for them, and they picked up the tribute, so they are definitely sitting pretty after that with a 2-level lead. That's also going to bring them up to 2 tributes, so they're going to be looking to get a curse here really soon. And Tempest is going to have to do something about that, because if they are behind in levels and get cursed, you could be seeing a huge swing for Clairvoyance in the near future.
Now, what do you think that Tempest needs to do? Do they need to start getting some serious map control, or do they need to make a really good team fight at the next tribute?
I think what I would like to see is for Tempest to go for a big team fight, because honestly the Maw into APOC, if you can set it up, could win them the game straight up, and I don't see them sieging up against this Hammer. I just don't see them being able to do that with their team composition. It looks like they're coming in for a flank here around the bottom on this mid lane push.
Are they going to be able to get Hawkfu? Nightmare does chain in, unfortunately gets Divine Storm, is going to be completely interrupted. ToeJam Earl does not have his Apocalypse up. He has a 19-second cooldown on that, and we have Pythix going in yet again, but unfortunately they're going to be bullied away. That Sergeant Hammer is just way too healthy, way too beefy to deal with all of this. And this is going to be a little bit on the wire here. If Tempest loses yet another fort, that's going to be one more nail into the coffin of them being just a little bit behind of where Clairvoyant is currently. Clairvoyant playing this game absolutely perfectly. We've been seeing them use that Sergeant Hammer quite often. Descent going into the middle of the team. Pythix going to get shock and awed. and that is going to be a kill there for them. And meanwhile, Clairvoyant Gaming also going to clean this up with a beautiful Gazlowe time bomb, and here comes a beautiful mosh pit, and it's going to Toe Jam.
The cleanup mosh pit. It's real. So that was a nice intention with the flank there by Tempest, but the timing didn't work out perfectly. And when you're trying to flank like that onto an established team that's kind of got dominance in a region, it's really scary to have your frontliner that initiates be Barb, because she can just get bursted down. And that's what we saw happen. Barbarian went in, her team just isn't in the exact right position to follow up on that, and she goes down, they take the fort, they get the tribute, get the curse, and I mean, it's all coming up golden right now for Clairvoyance.
Yeah, they're playing this composition really well. They're playing a really nice protect the hammer composition, and it's seemingly working out now. What are some really key abilities that Tempest is going to have to pull off to really break up that protect the hammer composition?
Tempest is absolutely going to need to out-rotate Clairvoyant at some point. That's been their biggest downside so far. They haven't put pressure on the fact that Gazlowe and Hammer both need to be somewhere and set up before they can be effective. And that's really the biggest downside right now, is that they're kind of letting Clairvoyant get in the positions they want and pressure their forts, whereas maybe if Tempest was on the offensive and getting aggressive, putting some damage on forts, then Clairvoyance has to rotate there, try and set up a defense, and then you can swap to another lane and put a lot more pressure on than you can try and defend against this infinity range Sergeant Hammer that now has graduating range at level 16.
Yeah, that Sergeant Hammer definitely went to college and is now graduating his range almost every second. But we have the curse, and it's still up for a couple more seconds. There we go. It's just going to be barely lifted right now. They do have the keep that they're going to have to defend at this point, but graduating range does have it in its reach, and it looks like the siege has begun. This is a very scary moment. They also have to defend Knights at the middle lane. Pelion now finally coming down. Are they going to be able to get the engagement that they need?
Ooh, big roots there by Treble. No follow-up, though. You really got to be looking for a nice, clean initiation spot here as Tempest. You can't just let them wail on this fort. The fort's going to go down. They're losing the mid-gate to the Knights. Looks like they're trying to come in here.
Are they going to be able to get anything to go down here? Divine Storm on Toe Jam Earl. Toe Jam Earl is going to get mosh pitted. He needs to break out of this. He needs to get everything absolutely landed. The Apocalypse does go down. There goes the Gazlowe Gravo Bomb. Treble going to be taken out as soon as Tranquility does go up. Nightmare also going to be focused down immediately. Pythix still up, but is going to get taken out the very last second there. And that's going to be an easy keep for Clairvoyant Gaming.
Yeah, beautiful siege by Clairvoyance. They're using all of their AoE ultimates strictly as zoning tools to prevent this dive-in from the enemy Tempest team, and they just can't get their frontliners onto the tank and threaten them in any meaningful way, so you're just seeing what happens when you have a damage-like composition trying to walk into a tank. It just doesn't work, and now, like, this is a beautiful push by Clairvoyant onto the core. They're making perfect use of the fact that they have a really strong siege team. They're going to try and force this down immediately. Yup. And there we go.
There's game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, Clairvoyant Gaming takes the first game of the day. Now, this is only our first